who says government moves slowly? When it comes to things it really wants to do, it can actually move quite quickly, disarmingly quickly, frighteningly quickly, maybe illegally quickly, because less than a week after the president's speech on climate change, lo and behold, the Environmental Protection Agency has already come up with rules and regulations on emissions standards that need little more than the president's signature. Executive out of order? Let's ask Jedediah Avila, Julie Roginski, and Lenwood Brooks. Jedediah, what do you think of this?
Well, I think Barack Obama needed to appear like he was not all talk. He wanted to be action on this. And when he came out and he said September 20th is the date whereby we're going to release this information to the public and they're going to know the details, you better get on this. This has to go to the Office of Management and Budget. This is going to need to go back and forth a few times before the public actually finds out what's going on.
Well, you don't have to go to Congress.
Well, you know what? Well, ideally you would, but you don't. But I think they wanted to make this a priority. And Barack Obama has been saying for a very long time that he cares about the environmental issues. He wants to appeal to the environmental lobby. This was the time to do it.
Well, one thing that's encouraging, I don't agree with what they're pushing, Lenwood, but how quickly the government can move when it really wants to, and not just when it's targeting groups, but I digress. Do you think that this is legal, what they're doing?
Well, I do. I don't agree with it, Neil, but in 2007, the Supreme Court ruled that the EPA could regulate carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases.
So this is fine. They can go ahead and do this?
Well, look, this is what happens, Neil, when Congress writes vague laws.
Well,
the Clean Air Act is vague. We've seen that more recently in other pieces of legislation. So Congress has deferred this authority to the executive branch, and it's why they should be more specific. But I'm very concerned about this policy, Neil. I don't think it's going to create jobs, and I think it's going to harm the economy.
Julie, what do you think?
Well, first and foremost, you guys lost the election. I'm sorry, but this is around. This is
what. No idea how I voted.
Well, you know.
But I mean, now, why do you think that the fallout from an election is to bypass Congress?
Because George Bush, and to Linwood's point, had more executive orders than Barack Obama did. So let's start with that.
Everything goes back to Bush.
Well, no, it goes back to it goes back to the fact that this is not a unique circumstance with this president. The president has the ability to put forward executive orders.
So this is perfectly legal, perfectly fine.
It's perfectly legal, and this is, elections have consequences. This is a consequence.
And a consequence is what?
That it destroys the coal industry, that it's going to harm businesses. It's going to be enormously problematic.
Well, what about the president's point last week to say, you'll always hear business bitching, that this is going to cost them, it's going to be tough, but in the end, they go along, they find ways to make their cars more fuel efficient and still sell a lot of them. That was kind of what he was saying. Do you agree with that?
Right. No, I mean, it is going to cost them. You see representatives from the coal industry already coming out and saying, even the cleanest of technology.
But the natural gas guys loved it. Right?
Natural gas guys love it, and I'm sure the people in solar love it, and I'm sure everyone else that Barack Obama is going to find a way to provide stimulus to now are going to love it too. But the bottom line is that the people in many of these industries are going to suffer. Jobs are going to suffer. You're looking at more overregulation. It's a pattern here, and just because you can do something,
but that's his point. His point, Julie, is that is a pattern of reaction that never is realized.
Well,
do you agree with that?
I'm sure the horse and buggy industry wasn't too happy when the automobile industry came along too. But the reality is, you got to move forward. Technology moves forward.
Neil, this is different though,
because the highway system, my friend. We have funded the oil and gas.
Well, we've gone from offending the front of the horse to maybe the back of the horse.
We have funded every kind of industry.
We're funding policy that if we left it to the test of the free market.
All right, go ahead. Lenwood, what do you think of that? That this is a slippery slope.
The difference here, though, is close to 46% of all energy consumed by electricity or made for electricity is made by coal. So, this is a hard problem. And what President Obama has proposed is really going to make this industry suffer, and it's going to raise prices for consumers.
Now, I don't know how big it will be, but I will say this, and whatever precedent you say George Bush set with this 2007 ruling to give carte blanche to the EPA, these are big matters about telling about, emission standards at power plants, utilities that are not going to be grandfathered in. They're going to be instantaneous. And that is something I don't think should be done by executive fiat through agencies or government units. We do have branches of government to decide these issues, and it shouldn't be rushed by any executive branch.
I agree with you, and I don't care who is in the White House. I don't care if it's a Republican or a Democrat. I think there needs to be a process for this, and that's not the way this administration operates. When they realize that they're going to have a hard time getting something through, they just decide, well, we're going to push it through. I mean, that's just the way it works.
It's the history of it. presidents of all
Yeah, of
parties to
course.
try
That's
to
what
get
I'm
their
saying.
way. Well,
It
FDR tried to pack the
shouldn't
court,
be
and then there
accepted
was
across the
hardship
board.
against it.
Shouldn't be accepted across the board.
Right. But now, if we allow this precedent to go through, Julie, I know you're just sloughing it off, but I think that's a big deal.
I'm not sloughing it off.
Oh, yes, you are.
This president, not at all. I'm saying this
Yes, you
president.
are to infinity.
No, because
Okay.
this precedent, excuse me, has been around since well before this president was in the White House.
All right, but that,
let's follow 'em up.
these are far more sweeping and life-changing,
like
lasting changes. No. You are now not grandfathering in these changes. You want them instantaneous.
So when Bush came in and started doing things the environmentalists didn't like, right, with respect to national parks before 9/11, I remember this clearly, back in 2001, before we had this whole
What did you do
tragedy.
to national parks?
My point is that he went in and he talked about drilling in national parks, all sorts of things that he wanted to do through executive order. 9/11 came, I'm not sure he was able to accomplish a lot of his agenda, but he was trying to. And so when...
But I'm not taking sides in executive orders. I find that when you're doing something so sweeping and so economic changing,
Right.
then you should go slow, and we should be dealing this not through agencies, but through our government.
25% of the world's emissions are done by this country. At which point, you may not believe in global warming. That's a whole separate issue.
No. I'm just
But
saying.
if you're-
Get back to what I'm asking you. Are you comfortable with an agency essentially riding roughshod on this and doing the president's will without going to Congress? Are you okay with
Am I okay with it?
Yeah.
Look, I think...
It's what you like, so in this case, you're okay with it.
If you want to address the whole issue of executive orders and why the president...
Go back and tell your Republican president.
No.
Are you okay with this behavior? Yes or no?
Am I okay with it? I'm okay with it, yes.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
Now,
Don't cut off my mic.
Lenwood, are you? Not yet. Lenwood, are you?
I think it's dangerous when you have the president and the executive branch dictating policy off of vague law. I think this gives credence, Neil, to proposals in Congress to have laws expire. So Congress must go back and look at these issues instead of the law evolving through the years and the decades and the Supreme Court interpreting the law differently over time.
Well, we'll go back and forth on this for a long time, and you will stick around later on in the show, right?
I'll think about coming back. You're going to let me back?
Well, I did, because I like you, but I mean, not for long. All right, when we come back, housing is hot. Home sales are